Applications are already at the heart of many things that organisations, consumers and communities do every day. But now we're at a critical point in terms of the role they'll play for enterprises and governments and their ability to adapt with the pace and intelligence needed for today's disrupted and rapidly changing world. With experts from Fujitsu and McKinsey, we're going to explore the applications megatrends that could make or break your future. So, Tim and Regina and Sarah, welcome to this session. We'll start with you, Tim. Looking to the future, what is the make or break role that applications are going to play in terms of being able to help tackle major opportunities and challenges across industries?
Yeah, thanks very much. And I think you actually used the word at the start there, which is central to this, which is about adaptive. And so applications for us, it's about being adaptive and being sustainable. And what does that mean for our customers and for society? And so if we look at sort of exploring that theme a little bit, it's the pace of change. And really what's happening in business at the moment is the application layer needs to be able to react to the changes that are coming into the consumer environment, into the citizen world at the moment. And so if I start to sort of look about what that means at Fujitsu, we really see this through our key focus areas and the 7 key areas that we're looking at. So starting with the verticals coming down, and then for us, the horizontals across. And so with these horizontal areas, we have 3 layers, starting with hybrid IT. Everything in the applications world is based on hybrid IT. The top layer is actually about digital shifts, and everything that the applications world is doing is generating data which is value. And in the middle, in this applications layer, it's this interaction and integration of systems that's key. And for us, we have 4 key systems that we're focused on. The system of record, the stable data and information that drives a business. The system of workflow, the changes to business processes that need to be adaptive and sustainable in how they interact. The system of communication, sharing the information amongst both our customers and across customers within an industry. And then the system of operation, the specific applications that apply to a specific domain for our customers around there. So for us, this integration across the layers is key, but it's this new pace. It's IT is the business. It's the fact that the applications are a part of the business approach. It's not a supporting infrastructure.
Tim, you mentioned verticals and horizontals. Can you expand on this to explain what it means?
Yeah, I would love to do so. And in fact, this is exactly what Fujitsu Uvance is all about. It's an ecosystem. So the verticals are actually the industries, our customers, the societal challenges that are coming down into the horizontals, which are about capabilities, enablers, the way in which we use our talents to actually address these societal challenges. And so really it's this ecosystem overlaying horizontals and verticals together.
Thank you, Tim. Now, Sarah, I'm going to turn to you now. Can you tell us about the big paradigm shifts in this area and what principles are going to drive significant change in the coming years?
Thank you. First of all, I must agree that I truly believe that the business applications are going to be an important determinant for the future of the organization's strategy. There are 2 themes, in my view, which are going to drive this. First is the shift in the organization mind shift and priorities. And the second one is explosion in agile and iterative development. Let me explain both of these themes in terms of how I am seeing the winners doing this or following this. So let's take the organization mindset and the priority shift. There are 2 observations. The first one is I am seeing that the IT is becoming more at the core of the business, not just the enabler, right? So the CXOs like Chief Digital Officer, the heads of the BUs, they are coming together and they are deciding how to spend the IT budget. They are deciding the priorities. And we believe that almost 50% of the IT spend in the next 5-7 years are going to happen by these non-CIO CXOs. Of course, keeping the CIOs in the loop. So that's the first observation, and the second one here is the decision makers, the technology decision makers, are thinking a lot more in terms of use cases, not necessarily in terms of the technology. So they want to build, for example, retail store of the future. They want to build insurer of the future. And to some extent, this links back to your the earlier question, because it means that the business applications are going to be something which the organizations must get right. Now, if I come back to your second theme, the explosion in the iterative and agile development, again, big observation here is that for most of the decision makers now, time to market and user experience is become a lot more critical than the cost. It doesn't mean that the cost is not important, but the time to market and user experience determine the competitive advantage for them, as well as the future growth. And therefore, they are actually coming together and want to be part of their sales and operations team want to be part of the development process. And they want to fail fast if that's what it takes to get the product fast in the market. So look, if I sum it up all, in my view, two trends: shifting organization mindset and priorities, and explosion in the agile and iterative development is what going to drive the shift and enable the organization tackle the changes much better.
Regina, I'd like to bring you in now and talk about what advances in technology you think will come to the fore and act as an engine for transformation.
Thanks, Nadira. That's a really good question. In order to truly transform, major technology advancements need to converge with a goal of serving end users more intelligently with a seamless and consistent experience. Customers, their end users, and their employees are demanding this, in addition to feeling protected and secure in that end user experience. I believe that four advances will act as the engine for transformation. Firstly, further democratization of apps to the edge and mobile, particularly to seize data monetization opportunities presented by advances in 5G. The availability of very low latency, very high bandwidth creates amazing opportunities for innovation. And this will continue to accelerate as governments and private sector organizations are already investing in 6G. 6G will bring even more bandwidth and artificial intelligence and edge computing right to the end consumer. Secondly, data and artificial intelligence will need to be central in application stacks, with a focus on AI-enabled workflows. For example, supply chain management 4.0 and AI-enabled ERP workflows. And there are many, many more. Thirdly, although considered an enabling technology, cloud adoption in apps will need to surge. 75% of CIOs expect that 40% plus of application workloads will move to the cloud in the next 2 to 3 years, with multi-cloud preferred. And finally, an even bigger focus on security embedded in every element of the value chain to drive value safely out of these technology advances.
Thank you, Regina. Now, I'll come back to you, Tim. What about people and skills? Can you tell us about what we might expect people to enrich applications and vice versa?
Yeah, I think, it's my favourite topic, so I love to talk about this. And I think if maybe we build on what Regina said to start the conversation, which Regina said the words, I think, was opportunities to innovate. And for me, that's what it's all about with people. And if you sort of break that down again and you say it's the customer or consumer experience and the employee experience. So maybe if we sort of start with the customer and consumer experience, it's really this opportunity for everyone to be an innovator. It's not really about developers being the innovator. Everyone is the innovator. And so as we see the rise of things like low-code, no-code practices, it means that the importance of the role of the business requirements gatherer, and also the pace with which you can gather business requirements, because essentially your consumer is actually your developer in this world. And then we sort of go down to the employee experience side of that. And for us, you know, as a tech services company, this employee experience is critical for us, as it is for our customers at the end of the day. And the market has changed. The people that we're looking for are now available to us anywhere in the world. And so this hunt for talent that we have around applications capabilities can now be without border. And I think the other thing that we can see is this emergence into the future of language translation. And we see it today, and to be honest, it's still a little bit clunky in how it works. But it is sort of progressively, and I think rapidly, getting better and better and better. And so previously language was a barrier for us. If we can cut through that, you know, I'm listening to you in your native tongue and we're able to have a conversation through this, think of the impact that can have in translating into the applications layer, the ability to transform business requirements into outcomes rapidly, and as Regina said, helping everyone become an innovator.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Now, Saurabh, if we look at how organisations can best approach these major changes to give themselves the greatest chance of future success, what are your thoughts on this?
I believe the changes are happening at so many levels that the organizations will need an integrated approach which spans across strategy, process, capabilities, and in the end, the culture. And let me elaborate all these three elements in terms of what I'm seeing in the market. So let's first, if I pick up the strategy, there are three observations. First is, are you thinking customer back or your own product and services back? Because the trend clearly is of now the segmentation of one, and only if you look at customer back, you're not going to innovate at the faster rate and come up with the new product and services which are relevant to the customer. Looking at your own product services and pushing them is not going to help that. Second, again, very important part is that I mentioned earlier as well. Digital is at the forefront of the strategy, has to be at the forefront of the strategy. And I tell many of my clients that, look, you cannot go back in the past and become digital native, but some of the business which you are incubating now or which you're going through the inflection point, you must make them digital native. So that's the choice which the organizations have to make, and I must say that must follow to actually succeed in the market, which is becoming hyper competitive. Second point I would say is on the capabilities. Again, and here I would say all three about the people, processes, as well as even the ecosystem partners. So, you got to, we say that almost 30 to 40% people, their skills going to be redundant over the next 5-7 years. How are you actually figuring out the reskilling, retraining of your employees? Similarly, I talked about, to respond to your earlier question, that agile, there is explosion in the agile and iterative development. Are you following that in every part of the process, in your organization? And finally, I would say, even look at the ecosystem and partnership. The world is changing so fast. The competition is coming, for almost in all sectors. Competition is becoming very aggressive. Are you actually leveraging your partners in a very effective way, rather than trying to build everything in-house? And I, by the way, truly believe that with such increasing complexity of the operations and processes, an SI like Fujitsu has a very important role to actually partner with the organization and really help them in managing the changes. And I would just finish my thought with a culture point. I think culture ultimately is going to be determined over and above the strategy and all the capabilities point on how organization manages to deal with all the challenges. Are you rewarding risk taking in your organization? Are you incentivizing people to come up with the different points of views? Are you rewarding your people to think differently? So all of these elements, again, strategy, capabilities, and culture are going to determine how the organization cope with the new challenges.
Thank you, Sarah. But now over to you, Regina. It'd be great to get some key advice for those watching so they can ensure these megatrends make and not break a successful future for their organisation.
Thanks, Nadira. I do have a few key pieces of advice for making the most of the 5 big trends, which you can see on the screen. Be bold. The key trends we've mentioned demand boldness, the right risk appetite, as it is much more dangerous to stand still in the current climate. We all need to act at speed. Focus on culture. As Saurabh mentioned, culture and mindset are critical. Co-create. Working in business and technology ecosystems is crucial. It will be difficult, if not impossible, to succeed by going it alone. Absorb best of breed innovation from wherever you can get it. Be in tune with the critical role that innovation in technology research in companies like Fujitsu can play, and how to create new value and new propositions from that innovation. And finally, in a world increasingly constrained by skills shortages, as Tim outlined, leverage the depth and breadth of expertise available to think and act holistically. And I think this is where we in Fujitsu can help.
Thank you for that, Regina. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Tim, for your brilliant contributions to this discussion. And thank you for watching.